So we have a major coon problem, ladies and gentlemen. And it's not that we're not aware of these coons, it's just too many among us. Whether they are known or unknown. I even run into a lot of these coons that are not famous and nobody knows who they are, but they're still a 100% straight up coon. The problem in this country is America love only coons to put on in the media. They don't want any other kind of black person, just the coon. And the coon is usually the one with the loudest voice. And they keep putting these people on as if the rest of us are going to be influenced by coons. Coons do not have a lot of notoriety among black people. So you're really putting a person that has no way of influencing, uplifting, or even getting a lot of attention from the black community. The attention they get is negative. These people are not liked or embraced by the black community out in public. But this is what white America wants to see. This is the black person they want to see. So, because they own the media, this is what they continue to push in our faces. So black people, we have to do more in pushing back against these people. They should not find any comfort in putting us on blast and then walking freely among us untouched. They should feel the wrath of the black community coming down on them, whether it's online, in person, but they should know how the rest of us feel. Now, they could put their message out there and keep acting like they're not part of this community. But one thing I know about white America, they have a way of reminding you how black you really are. And that applies to coons too. There is no way you are going to exist in America and not feel the effects of racism. It is not going to happen. So you can keep cooning it up, boot licking, butter biscuit eating, and lapping up everything the white supremacists say. And I promise you, somebody is going to put your nigger ass in check. It is going to happen. Live long enough, it will happen. Even children, black children in this country, can tell you about their racist experience too. These are lost souls that side with the enemy. This is going to be painful to watch. But we must know who these people are. And yes, I did not get everybody. So I know you're going to put, oh, you didn't get this person and that. We have so many among us. It's virtually impossible to get them all. I probably could go all the way up to part 10 on the series that I'm about to show you. We got too many coons. We have a terrible habit of not dealing with the enemy from within, and that are your coons and coonettes. I'm going to go ahead and roll these videos because our ears need to feel the pain of their words so that maybe in the future we can deal with them appropriately. Let's go ahead and start with Kevin Martin, who seriously I'm starting to think that he doesn't even realize he's a Black person. Just the way he talks, always saying they, like he's not part of the Black community. Really, I guess in a sense he's not, but I guess he's trying to topple David Clarke from his position of being Master Coon of the universe. Let me go ahead and roll this video.
Down there in Virginia is this. A group of white nationalists got together to protest the removal of the statue of General Lee, okay? General Lee has a statue in the middle of Charlottesville, Virginia. And it has been there for many, many years. And over the past many years, especially the last 8 years during the Obama administration, it has sparked a lot of controversy from liberal politicians, community leaders, NAACP, asking for the statue to be taken down. But it's very, very controversial because not everybody believes that way. Not everybody believes that the Confederate monuments have a racist connotation. However, some people do, okay? However, people went out there, the white nationalists, they got a permit to do this. Now, I have a lot of experiences with permits, and you go through vetting. What's this going to be? Who's going to be there? We need a police detail. We need to clear it with the attorney general, and then we're going to grant you a permit. So these white nationalists were not in the wrong in holding this rally. It was cleared, okay? It was cleared by the city, by the state, et cetera, et cetera. It was cleared. What you got to understand here, okay, is that these white nationalists are out there protesting the removal of this Confederate monument. Guess who decides to show up? Antifa and Black Lives Matter, okay? Both of those are terrorist organizations. They're both racist hate groups. Antifa is an anti-white supremacy group. Is an anti-white group. And Black Lives Matter is a black supremacy group. So this all comes down to George Soros and his cronies trying to divide us even more. So we've got a party of white nationalists that obviously don't care for blacks. They don't care for Hispanics. They don't care for liberals. They hate Antifa. And we're going to show up and we're going to just throw fuel on a fire, okay? Going to show up and throw fuel on the fire, okay? Now, I'm not agreeing with I'm not agreeing with white supremacy. I'm not agreeing with white nationalism, and I'm not agreeing with Black Lives Matter, and I'm not agreeing with Antifa. Okay, this is what we need to understand as a people. Okay, there is a reason why white nationalists and white supremacists have taken a stand and said, "Look, we are done with this." You want to know why? The reason? Because the last 8 years under the Obama administration, the left has come to say, everybody has come to say that the white man is the root of everybody's problems. They're the butt of everybody else's problems. The white man is the white man is everybody else's problems. Okay, everything gets blamed on the white man. So Richard Spencer, white supremacists, white nationalists, took a stand and they said, look, we're never going to feel guilty for being white. We're going to promote and we are going to empower our white supremacy because black people are doing the same thing, because Hispanics are doing the same thing, because liberals are doing the same thing. So we're going to take the stance and we're going to do this. We're going to do the same thing. There was a video that I did going viral and I said, look, Black Lives Matter, white power, they're both terrorist organizations. They're both racist groups. They're both hate groups. They're both supremacy groups, and neither are productive. Okay? You've got Black Lives Matter and you've got the KKK. You've got Black Lives Matter and you've got white supremacy. You've got Black Lives Matter and you've got Nazis and then you've got Antifa. So what do you expect to happen when a group of people, of radical leftists, show up to an event, to a party that was reserved for white nationalists? What do you expect to happen? The governor warned, don't go there, and people decided to go there anyway. And if the left really wants to understand, and if you really want to fight for social justice, you would stop showing up at these rallies with white nationalists and Confederate monuments and trying to make your voice heard, because guess what? People don't care.
Okay, he spoke in so many contradictions, it's not even funny. First of all, why was Black Lives Matter formed in the first place? He just completely glossed over that. And for the last 5 centuries, who did Black Lives Matter lynch? Who did they subjugate? Who did they oppress? Who did they set up a whole system against white people? When did Black Lives Matter do that? Okay, there was a fatality at the Charlottesville protest that he conveniently did not mention. That was done by the Unite the Right. Somebody that was with that group killed Heather Heyer. He didn't mention that. There is no such thing as Black supremacy. Black people in this country do not have the ability to stop white people from doing a damn thing. Kevin Martin is the white piece for white supremacy. Now, he said in one instance he was not trying to defend them, and then he spent the entire video defending them. Live long enough, Kevin, and I promise you, you are going to feel plenty of racism. Maybe you've skirted by a lot, or you just one of those Black people that are discriminated against, but you just conveniently ignore it. I don't know. But live long enough in America, a Black, dark-skinned man like yourself, you will feel the wrath of racism. I don't give a damn about how many white girls you date. Your ass is going to feel it. And it doesn't matter. Even LeBron James, who's a multimillionaire, got his house vandalized by racism. So it doesn't matter if you are the richest or poorest Black person in America, your ass will experience racism. You can count on it. All right. The next video is Bernal. And we saw her, I showed her with Michael Eric Dyson, but her cooning ass has been on quite a few shows, and she's another one that talks that Black supremacy stuff that does not exist. There is no such thing as a Black supremacist. And if you claim there are, you tell me how many Black supremacists have hung white people. How many Black supremacists have stopped you from getting a job or getting into college or earning all the money you want in America? Who stopped you? There is no such thing. We have not. What system did Black supremacists build to stop you from living in America or having a life here in America? No such thing. Let me go ahead and roll this video.
First of all, you had a situation where you had people marching. The people are saying white supremacists were marching, and they had a permit. And then you had these counter protesters come in, and anytime you have a situation where you've got groups that are on extreme sides, there's, like I said, there should have been.
That's the point I don't get. Are those extreme sides to you?
There should have been a heavy police.
Do you see that as two extreme sides? You see somebody who opposes white supremacists, who want everybody on this panel to be eradicated from the United States as being equally as extreme as the white supremacists?
What I'm saying is that I don't believe that in Black supremacy or white supremacy or Hispanic supremacy. I believe that we should address any kind of hatred and extreme across the board. It shouldn't be something that we're, letting one get away with something than the other.
Okay. All right. So here's another one. Bernal Donald, I think her last name is Kyei. Kai. Anyway, she's another one that's making the rounds all throughout the media. And she is another one with her anti-Black speech. I guess this woman just don't own a mirror in her house, because she just comes off as, oh my goodness, this is a serious coonette that is deep in her coonery. But let me tell you something, Bernal. A white supremacist will kill your ass just as fast as a revolutionary type Black person. See, they don't distinguish between a coon and a non-coon in the Black community. They'll just kill your ass because you are a Black person. Don't believe it? Look at the American history. That should prove it to you. Coons are not spared from the wrath of white supremacy. All right, here is the master coonette, Stacey Dash, which she got fired. She had to learn that, she is expendable just like any other Black person is out in this society when it comes down to a job. But she put her little coon face on and thought she was going to just coon her way into keeping a job, and she ended up getting canned, rightfully so. Let's go ahead and roll this video.
She spoke out in a new video about gender inequality in Hollywood, DC, and in Fortune 500 companies. And I know that you took issue with what she said. Why?
Well, because I feel like it's an excuse.
Why did you like Romney?
I liked Romney because of his track record. I'm a fiscal Republican. I thought he had a good plan for our economy.
What was his plan?
His plan.
I cannot wait to help my people out. Happy Black History Month.
Whoop, whoop. We got him. We got him. We got him. Touchdown. It's the same thing with race. It's an excuse. Stop making excuses. It's ridiculous. And his speech was an epic fail. It was like when you have to go to a dinner with your parents, but you have a party to go to afterwards. The president's like clicking his heels together, his ruby red slippers. There's no place like home. There's no place like home.
Successful. It took me a long time. It takes a lot of people a long time. And for many years, I was not getting paid the same as the guys.
And you think it's because you're a woman?
I think that had a lot to do with it. If you look at the number, there's a reason why women get 78 cents and men get $1.
See, I guess I won't put my fate into anything other than my own action and taking my destiny in my hands.
Well, I agree with that.
Be a victim.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying I'm a victim. I'm pissed off.
Yeah. No.
I don't want to be a victim.
And that's the thing. If you want to be pissed off about it, then be pissed off about it and work harder for it. But I don't think us, complaining about it, because there is a law passed that we get paid equal pay.
Except we don't. But we don't. We don't.
I felt like he could give excuse me, like he could care less. He could care less. Here we have to make up our minds. Either we want to have segregation or integration. And if we don't want segregation, then we need to get rid of channels like BET and the BET Awards. There shouldn't be a...
Okay, I just can't take listening to this. Thank goodness, Stacey Dash, you lost your job. The world don't need to hear from you again. Hopefully nobody else will pick you up, and this is really the end for you. And if you do get a voice again, I certainly won't be listening to you. To me, people like you are overrated. You need to go into the trash dump of history. All right, let's go to this coon, Stephen A. Smith.
I am not talking about you. I'm talking about the youngsters, breath smelling like Similac went behind the ears. Those people. And I mean that affectionately to you youngsters. I want you to hear me and hear me good. Because I'm going to pause. And I'm going to alarm you with what I'm about to say. But I want you to listen. Racism doesn't exist. Obviously, I'm lying. Of course it does exist. Not for you. See, you don't have to go to the back of the bus. You're not denied the opportunity to eat at restaurants or to enter nightclubs or to patronize businesses. You have the right to go. You're not being lynched. You're not being hung. You're not going through the trials and tribulations your ancestors, recent and far beyond recent, endured so you can sit here today. You're older. You know I'm not talking about you. But youngsters, nobody's trying to hear that. You need to understand that white folks got problems too. Some of them can't pay their bills. Some of them are struggling. Some of them are being denied opportunities. And you need to understand that, because when people are going through their own problems, they are not going to lament what your trials and tribulations are. Because the mentality is that the obstacles that once existed are no longer those obstacles. The fact that there's a proverbial glass ceiling, and there's favoritism and nepotism and all of these other isms that are taking place, that applies to them too in their world. So if they're going through that, how could they possibly be sensitive to your trials and tribulations? It doesn't mean that you don't go through it from time to time.
All right, let me just stop him. Stephen A., you are full of shit. Number one, Black youth and children have been gunned down in this country unarmed by racist cops. Lynchings still go on. It just goes on through the police force in the form of a gun out in public. For you to stand on a platform and tell young people that are graduating from college that racism does not exist for them is downright laughable and a disgrace. And you're sending the wrong message to white America and Black America in your speech. Number one, these kids certainly will feel racism on jobs, through the law enforcement in this country, through courts. Racism still exists everywhere. There are a lot of these people that have graduated from college, they're on jobs, and they're already feeling discrimination on those jobs all throughout America. They live in communities where they've faced racism, young or old. It is no such thing as racism for an older generation of Black people, but not for the younger. You sound like a complete fool. Your enemy does not distinguish between young and old. They discriminate against all. For you to stand there and make this kind of message is just, this is a joke. This is a joke. All right, y'all, you remember Omarosa recently went to the Black Journalist Conference, and let's go ahead and roll this video.
I tell you what, I did my best to try to keep this as civil as possible. Don't be aggressive. So here we go. Ask her question, but don't lecture. Here we go. I'll ask the question my way. Here's my way. One will suggest that a man who has already given sick to a police. You want to ask about the loss of my father and my brother and the issues I could ask about my story. No, I'm asking you about every single word we're saying. I won't tell my story. Ask a question about me, about my brother, about my father. Yes, that's what they invited me to talk about. Okay, so ask them what you want to talk about this. Now you you're dismissing my family story. No, I did not dismiss. I just shared about my father and my son. I did not immediately go. Have you heard my question? And the other thing you did was was calling against the mess. He says that you got me in this mess. If you don't want to be here, don't be here. And don't disrespect the story of my brother and my father. It's not a mess. This is my story. And if you have a problem with the loss of my brother, rough. I said, please don't be too nice. Like when you guys put somebody in the car and you're protecting them, the way you put the hand, like don't hit their head and then just kill somebody, don't hit their head. I said, you can take the hand away.
Outside the college, about 400 protesters were getting far away from the president. That's where we found Raj and Summer chatting with their kids. They were skeptical about.
Okay, now that, if you don't know, was a recent Black journalist conference that took place in Omarosa. Really, there were people that did not want her there. I don't know who on earth would invite Omarosa, of all people, the bedwench of the Trump administration. This woman only wanted to interject her family story just to push in everybody's face black on black crime. Okay, that was the whole purpose. She is there to infiltrate and destroy anything that Black people are doing. She is not there to bring people together. And as you could see, Ed Gordon had to put her in check because she was literally trying to hijack the entire conference. So again, another coon I don't care for. This is Trump's bedwench. You know, he can keep her over there at the White House. You don't have to keep sending Omarosa out to the Black community. We don't need to hear from her. Moving on. Now we know the infamous Steve Harvey, another master coon who gets a mouthpiece on TV and on the radio, and we don't really need to hear from Steve, but this is his stunt that really rubbed a lot of Black people the wrong way.
I want you to look right at the person and do this right here. They ask you something about the past. You say, I don't really care for slavery.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
All right, Steve. Well, guess what? I don't really care for you. And you have not been of any help whatsoever to the Black community. It seems like when you get a platform, you just go all coon, head diving in first, and you don't give a damn about anybody else. If anything, you're a self-centered, all about me kind of coon, which is the kind we don't need in our community. This is another person that I normally tune out. I don't listen to him on the radio. I don't watch his shows. I don't watch his game shows. I don't feel that Steve Harvey has anything constructive to do with or to say to the Black community. You know, he's been cooning for dollars for years. We can't expect anybody like this to change. None of them will change, especially the paid coons on TV. And here's the pork belly, Jason Whitlock. And he's going to give his take on Charlottesville, which we know it's the cooning side of what he's got to say. You know, instead of lecturing Black people, why don't you go on a diet and get rid of that double chin? You're a very unattractive man that was allowed to give a platform, given a platform on TV because of your very white views. And this is another thing, he is completely obsessed with Colin Kaepernick. See, ladies and gentlemen, this is the type of Black person they want on TV, the jolly fat coon that thinks like a white man. Let's go ahead and roll this video.
ways to bring us together and things that can be said that would promote understanding and a positive direction. I think that a lot of people are looking for words that will promote more agitation and more confrontation. And again, just as a strategist, as someone who wants to see Black people succeed, survive, move forward, I'm not sure if confrontation, or I don't believe confrontation is a good strategy. I think it's a good martyr suicide strategy. And measure your words in this time, because I see social media causes us to grandstand so much, instantaneously grandstand. We must have a strong opinion right now. And that's not the way that white people operate. And so if you believe you're in a chess match against white supremacists, they're not as reactionary and emotional and instantaneous as we are. White supremacy, the KKK, the Nazi movement has been a part of the fabric of America since its outset. What we can focus on as Black people is the laws that this country adopts and enforces. I don't think Black people, that we will be able to exert any real pressure or influence on how white people feel. Trying to influence what laws our government adopts and enforces that protect us, we've got a history of going all the way back to changing.
All right, this man is full of shit, y'all. You know, he must be getting one hell of a butter biscuit from the mainstream media in order to be talking like this. He just said the Ku Klux Klan are not quite as reactionary. I guess kicking doors in and snatching Black men, women, and children out of their beds and lynching them is not reactionary. I guess the cops shooting unarmed Black people down in the damn street over a bunch of nothing is not reactionary. I guess rolling over a crowd of people and using a car as a weapon is not reactionary. Jason Whitlock, go back under the rock you crawled from under. We don't need your voice. Okay? And as far as the laws, they don't go by laws when it comes down to us. Go read the slave laws, the Black codes, the pig laws that existed for Black people exclusively in this country that are still being carried out. This is why Black people don't have a fair chance in the court system. It is set up by design to be against Negroes like you. I don't know who put this very unattractive man on TV and thought he would influence the Black community. It is a major fail. Moving on. All right, this is Paris Dennard, another heavy defender of Trump. In this Negro's eyes, Trump does no wrong. Trump is his savior. Let me go ahead and roll this video.
No, I don't think he said the wrong thing. I think that no matter what the president says, these neo-Nazis, these ignorant individuals who are un-American, are going to say what they want for propaganda and for media attention. I think they are just as irrelevant as David Duke. And the more we give them attention, the more we give them a platform, the more they're going to talk and use anything that they can to insinuate that the president, this White House, or Republicans agree or co-sign or have anything but negative feelings or sentiments towards the ignorant remarks that they continue to make on behalf of their foolishness.
And yet, Paris, just last week, President Trump spoke off the cuff. He threatened nuclear war with North Korea. Yesterday, he carefully read this statement that explicitly did not mention the words KKK, white supremacy, or white nationalism. Are we to believe he's not capable of speaking his mind, speaking directly when he wants to about what he wants to?
I think anybody who's watched this president's campaign and his presidency thus far knows that President Trump says exactly what he means and means exactly what he says. And then when you listen or read the speech or the remarks that he gave just after the incident, he said that he found that said they were immoral, or he talked about the problems that we have in this country as it relates to that. But no, he did not explicitly say that they were neo-Nazis, that they were KKK, or that they were somehow bigots. I think that at the appropriate time, he is going to do that. And like I said yesterday, when President Obama gave his remarks just after the Charleston shooting, he did not call them out. He later did do such, and I think that the president will do the same. He responded right after the incident, and he said that these people were bigotry and this hatred and violence have no place in this country. And the First Lady tweeted about that.
I want to get Simone in here too, but Paris, let me just rephrase my question for you, because if this were a situation in which it was somebody who was Muslim who was under arrest, or somebody who was a Mexican immigrant who had crashed into this crowd of people, do you think the president would have this exact response if the tables were turned and it were somebody else?
I don't know. I don't do hypotheticals, but I will say this. No one should listen or read the president's remarks and feel that he did not denounce the acts that happened yesterday. No one should read or listen to the president's remarks and feel as if he is somehow condoning the behavior, the attitudes, or the comments, or the disgusting actions of that one individual on yesterday. Would he have reacted stronger if it was a Hispanic or a Mexican or a Muslim? I don't know. I don't do hypotheticals, but what I do know is that this president and this administration is moving in the right direction, and at the appropriate time, which I know is going to be soon, the president is going to give his full remarks, just like the president did in past administrations.
Anna, if I may.
All right. This man, I don't know if any of you are familiar with him. His name is Patrick Dennard. He is a big mouthpiece for the Trump administration. And this man acts as if Trump walks on water and does no wrong. All right. There was a fatality. Now, one thing, if you want to make the comparison of Obama and Trump, and I don't like either man, but let's look at how he reacted to the Charleston shooting. Obama did reach out to the families. He attended the funeral. He spoke a eulogy. That's what a president is supposed to do. Trump did not contact Heather Heyer's family. He did not send anybody from the White House to her funeral. And he acted completely oblivious to the fact that it was somebody from the Unite the Right group that killed her. Heather Heyer's mom said she will not accept a phone call from Trump because of what he said and what he failed to do and how he defended the right that killed her daughter. That woman got more sense than this black man that lives in a country that he fully knows discriminates against someone like his dark ass. Okay? It doesn't even matter. When you really think about it, light, dark, you are a nigger in America. I don't care how far and hard right you go and how much you defend Donald Trump. This country will see you for your black nigger ass, and that's how they see you. I don't care what white remarks you make on TV. I guess they must be given a cash cow size butter biscuit to these coons to be out the way that they are. Again, this is the kind of man white America want to see from the black community on TV. But there's no excuse, and this should be unacceptable to all of us to have a sellout like this among us. Moving on. The infamous Daddy Coon, Charles Barkley. And with them dark circles under his eyes, Charles, you look like you need some sleep, man. Let me go ahead and play this video.
Cops bad, of course they are, but we need the cops, especially in the Black community. We need the cops. They do a fantastic job. Do they make mistakes? The thing that bothers me the most is everybody wants to be a Monday morning quarterback,
right?
But none of us know what we react when guns, adrenaline, pressure, scary situations. So I think we have to be really careful judging the cops in all these situations.
But some mistakes go beyond just mistakes. Some of these cases, they've shown that the officers have acted in a way that they shouldn't have acted.
What I'm saying.
We saw what happened in North Charleston. A guy is running away from a cop and he shoots a gun at him.
And we should prosecute those guys. But I think we have to always look at the evidence, because I say everybody think how they would react under pressure. And it's not that simple. But when cops make mistakes, we should make them pay. But we should also understand the stress they're under, the stress that they're under, and because we need to work with them.
Why do you think that's so important?
Because if it wasn't for the cops, we'd be living in the wild, wild west. We would be.
I got news for you, Charles. We do live in the wild, wild west with the cops. There is no era in American history, past and present, where violence disappeared or dropped because the police force exists. It was violent before the police force was formed in this country, and it's been violent after the police force has been formed in America. Why is that? Okay, because the cops in this country are more violent than the average citizen in America. For you to sit here and say we need police, no, we don't. We don't need these type of cops. See, there's a difference between a cop that's serving and protecting and one that's an occupier within the community. And that's what they are in the Black community. No one needs an abusive cop. No one needs a cop that's gunning down unarmed people. No one needs cops that hate the Black community and don't want to really be there working in the first place. No one needs cops that are part of neo-Nazi and KKK groups. But that is what's on the police forces all across the Americas, all across this country, every state. You got these cops that have been infiltrated decades ago. No one needs those kind of cops. The Black community would be better off in policing ourselves. But they don't want it that way. This is why your police forces of today still look like the slave patrols of yesterday. They're predominantly white. They feel like if they relinquish their power in law enforcement through the courts and through the police departments, then they relinquish their white supremacy in America. And no one needs a white supremacist cop in the Black neighborhood. If you don't have one that's going to protect and serve, we don't need them at all. And as far as this wild, wild west, you name one era, in fact, name 1 year that was not violent in America. You won't be able to do it. So you can miss me with your, we need the cops, Charles Barkley. You can miss me with that. And yes, I've saved David Clarke for last. Let me go ahead and roll this video.
That were mentioned, these Black nationalist groups, the Black Panther Party, the Nation of Islam. It doesn't mean that those organizations will go away just because they're on that list. But what happens is people start to delegitimize these movements and marginalize them. This movement needs to be marginalized. We have looked at this stuff. We have peeled back the layers. We've looked at the data. We've looked at the research. None of their false narrative about the use of force, about the American police officer can be proved. None of it.
But why,
Zero.
how would that
and so it is
how
time.
would that have helped
But
this?
Megan,
Because this guy wasn't part of Black Lives Matter.
It is time for, he said, according to the chief down there, Chief Brown, he was doing this in the name of Black Lives Matter. He said he wanted to kill
The language
white
was
people.
a little different than that. He did say the latter.
Okay, but it is time for the liberal mainstream media, the New York Times editorial board, the CNN, MSNBC, to stop walking on eggshells and giving legitimacy to these rants, to all this false narrative coming out of this Black Lives Matter movement. Once we do that and marginalize this group, then we can go about all the work. I listened to Loretta Lynch today. That was a great political statement, but nothing else. I don't need to be lectured to her about what we should or shouldn't do after this. I think she should have taken questions. Whenever you have an incident like this, somebody, the chief down there is doing a fabulous job of keeping the public informed. She came out, she intermingled this thing with some, gun control, this, that, and then just, took off. That was irresponsible. So once, the rhetoric I don't think is going to go away, but we need to delegitimize this Black Lives Matter movement. We've had enough of their nonsense.
Sheriff, I appreciate you.
All right. The infamous coon of the year, David Clarke. He wants to marginalize all Black groups that speaks out against brutality and discrimination and all of the things that we have had to face for centuries in this country. Again, this is another coon that must look in the mirror every day and just see a blonde-haired, blue-eyed, pale-skinned man looking back at him in the mirror. I'm not big on Black Lives Matter, but I do understand why they were formed, okay? They really came about after the Mike Brown killing. For you to look at all of these police shootings and not realize there is a serious problem on these police forces, then I can't respect you. Now, this is the same man that has lied about his credentials. All of those badges and medals he got on are fake. And he plagiarized his thesis, his college thesis. He plagiarized it. All right. If you want people to marginalize something, it should be David Clarke. He is in more need of being marginalized than any of the groups that he named. David Clarke has been of no help to the Black community. This man wants to be white. I say we let the white community have him 100%. No matter what happens, we don't want him back. You keep David Clarke forever. We don't need the likes of him around us. If he wants to be white, then let him be your honorary white person. Black people don't care. Don't send him back. He's unwanted in the Black community. Please leave your comment and subscribe. And if you can donate to my channel, please do. Peace, family.